Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Monday. Today is Ghost Story Day. I'm so happy I'm doing this because I need it. Is that too much? Is this light too much? No, I think I need it there. Used to be like that, right? Oh, I'm so scared this is going to fall on me. Okay, hi. Thank you for being here. If you haven't joined me on a Monday before, it's basically where I read out my subscribers' ghost stories while creating a look around some way that I died and taking inspiration from that. Sounds so terrible. And making a look, basically. Yeah, so if you have any ghost stories yourself, paranormal experiences, weird accompaniments? That's like olives and stuff, isn't it? Experiences. Send them right here to this email address and we will read them out for you. It's slightly changed now as to how we're reading these out. There's so many new ones coming in, which is incredible, that we want to keep up on them. So there's going to be a mixture of some new ones and some old ones. So we're kind of like starting at each end and going in this way. Yeah, so hi. I was very recently sent some stuff. Mondays are a great way for me to try stuff that I've been sent. But haven't tried just yet. So I'm going to try it from Sigma. This was gifted to me. I'm an affiliate with Sigma. Oh. Why does it keep doing this? Focus. It's so difficult filming with a dark background because the lighting just changes everything. It just changes the whole lighting. So I was sent a lip balm and a hydrating lip gloss. So there's a lip balm, a hydrating lip gloss, and also a mask. So I have a lip balm on at the moment. Really nice. Also, Midas Cosmetics sent me so much stuff. It was so generous. They sent me the, this is the Noon Face Palette by Neon MUA. I saw these all over Twitter and then I tried to get them and they were sold out. But here it is. So that's amazing. Can't wait to use that. And then they sent me Smokey Glowers collection as well, which is absolutely incredible. I took the package out of this. So we have some lip colors here and there's like a blush and a highlight. Oh no. Oh, it's fine. There's like a blush and a highlight in there, and then the eyeshadow palette here. And then Urban Decay. I've actually tried these already, but I want to try another colour because the one I used was too orangey on me. Too yellow. This is the Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. Yes, foundation. Really, really nice on the skin. I just want to get my colour right. Okay, let's take a look at the Smoky Glow palette. Are you kidding? Look. Yeah? We have to, come on. We absolutely have to. Look at this too. Oh fuck, what do I do? What do I do? I'm trying to think of a way I would have died because so I can use that purple. Okay, it's gonna be another one of you guys tell me how I died. Oh, as I always like to say as well, this series is very much based on Bailey Sarin's Murder Mystery Makeup Monday. I will link her channel below and you can go ahead and check hers out. Let's get into it. Tell me how I died. Give me some inspiration in the comments for the next few weeks so I don't sit and decide on the day off. Look at me. Pasty. Okay, let's start off with a shade of rosé right up here. And our first story, and this story is called Dusk. And the note on here is that she kept saying sorry for her English, but it was really good. Here's the thing, everyone. Listen, if you can speak more, I've said this before, but if you can speak more than one language, don't ever apologize if your like second language isn't great. Because trust me, I wish I could speak slightly, you know, a piece of another language. That I would love that. So never apologize for being able to speak someone else's language. It's incredible. You should be very proud of yourselves. Okay, so hi Robert, it says, that's my name. Last year I married my boyfriend and I moved out of my parents' house. My husband works different shifts, so some days he works from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Oh, that means I have to sleep alone. It was really hard for me to sleep when he was not at home. When I fall asleep, I start to hear a voice of a little girl in our house. This girl came into our bedroom and she makes fun of me. I never saw her face or hair colour, but I realised that this girl didn't come alone. Her father was with her. Oh, I don't like where this is going. I was moving in my bed because she was jumping on it, and then I saw a man standing next to the door looking at me. I thought that it was my husband. But then I saw he had long black hair. This little girl and her father visited me every night until my grandfather-in-law made me a dua, something Muslims do for anything like fear, health, blessings, etc. After a long time, I could sleep normally when my husband was not at home. But one day, there was a creature in my bedroom. which I could feel on top of me, pushing me into my bed. I screamed very loudly and woke up, and I saw a dark layer of dust move from my bed. I love you so much and appreciate your work. Thank you. You are one of the best makeup artists I've seen on YouTube, and I've learned so much from you. Thank you so much. I mean, I stopped baking my under eyes. Yes. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much for your story. I think that's terrifying. You know what's worse than a child haunting you is her dad haunting with her. Like, what kind of fucked up, like, Resident Evil family situation is that? And being alone as well, being alone in a house. Even though, I mean, I never feel, like, scared in my home. Like, I never think, like, oh my God, there's a presence. But if I'm alone, you bet I'm listening out for creaking floorboards and, you know, trying to see if there's faces peering through my door and all that. Oh, okay, I've come up with a death idea. I'm like Barbie in the 80s, right? And, you know, Barbie, she's a career woman. She can do everything. But here's the problem. I did do everything. I was a vet. I was a pilot. I was a teacher. I was a doctor. I was a lawyer. I was a... What else do people do? I was a career woman. And then it was just way too much for me. And I died from 80s exhaustion. From doing too much. So I'm going to do a Barbie, like, blown out. Too much. It's too much. Okay, let's have our first audio while I try and get my blowouts equal. So this story is called Skinwalker. Oh, Skinwalker's scared the hell at me. Okay, let's do this.
Hi, Robert. Firstly, I want to say that I love all of your content. Your humor is much like my own, and when I watch your videos, it's like hanging out with an old friend. So this story is a culmination of a few stories of what I assume to be the same creature or entity. It begins when I was around the age of 11. My childhood home was a little ways away from town in an undeveloped neighborhood. Nothing but fields and a few trees for at least a mile in any direction. One evening, around 9 p.m., my older sister Whitney and I were outside on our front porch that was paved, riding around in our brand new Heelys shoes. In the center of our front yard was a group of 4 trees, about 20 to 30 feet from each other in a diamond shape. Each of these trees were mature, and their branches connected in the center of our yard, creating a thick hammock of leaves and branches at their center. At one point, we began to hear what sounded like rocks being thrown onto the concrete about 20 feet from us. The yard was poorly lit, and we could really only see the part of the concrete that we were on. My sister and I began to get a little scared when all of a sudden my father jumped around from the side of the house, scaring us. We all laughed, and he went back inside. Around 20 minutes go by when what sounds like rocks being tossed at the trees can be heard. My sister and I immediately assumed it was our father trying to scare us again. I went and looked in through his bedroom window, which was easily visible from the porch, and there he was, watching TV in bed. I turned to my sister and told her he was in his room. We instantly started to quiver in fear when all of a sudden, all of the birds that had been in the trees all flew off at once. We heard the sound of many branches snapping, followed by a very loud thud. In the center of our yard, under the canopy of trees, was a large, dark figure, approximately 10 feet wide and even taller. My sister and I immediately ran into the house screaming for our father. He thinks we're nuts, but goes outside to check things out. We follow outside with him. The only thing we seen or heard at that point was a distinct clink of our chain link fence as if something climbed over it, and all of our dogs barking at something in the darkness. Many years passed, and of course we had both told our parents this story multiple times. One evening, my older sister, mother, and myself were all outside on the front patio. We were telling my mother, who was a huge skeptic of anything paranormal, by the way, the story once more. She keeps telling us how we were just imagining things and how she doesn't believe us. When, all of a sudden, all of the birds in the trees take off at once. We hear the snapping of many branches and a very loud thud. We all look over, and there, sitting in the center of the yard, was a large, dark figure. We all scramble inside and tell our father, who again thinks we're nuts and making it all up. Some more time passes, and over the years, my sister and I had been told stories of skinwalkers. After lots of reading and research, we are convinced that is what we've seen. So, when I was 21, I had gotten a night shift position at a care home about a mile from my parents' house. This care home is surrounded by basically nothing but fields as well, maybe a few houses here and there. One night, I go to work and park in the back parking lot of the building. I'm parked diagonally from the normal line of cars, sitting in my own. The back lot is only lit by one light post, so it's pretty dark outside. I see something out of the corner of my eye, and when I look up, I see this dog, humanoid-type figure on all fours run around the front side of a car parked ahead of me. I immediately begin to panic. In order to get into my work's building, I have to walk past that car, enter the code on the gate, pull the gate open, shut the gate behind me, and hold it for a few seconds to make sure it locks, and walk about 150 feet to a set of doors which is also locked by a pin pad. I knew if I tried to get out of my car and make it inside, whatever it was would get me. I sat terrified and frozen in my car, staring at the car it went in front of, when all of a sudden, around the opposite side of the car emerges a cat. This cat is larger than a house cat, but not by any means a mountain lion or cougar. This cat sits at the end of the car and just stares at me, not once blinking or breaking eye contact. After what felt like an eternity, the cat-like creature gets up, turns around, begins to walk away, looks back at me before disappearing into the field. I grabbed all my belongings and quickly made my way inside the building. After that night, I always parked out front of my work, even though we weren't supposed to have easier access in and out of the building. I hope you liked that story and it scares you half as much as it did my sister and I when it happened. Much love to you and yours.
That was a great story. Thank you so much. And yes, it did scare me. Humans on all fours, stop it. Stop doing that. I wonder, stories like this make me wonder, right? You're just children on Heelys. Like, what makes a creature target children? And why you? You know what I mean? I'm having the best time with this palette, by the way. I love these pinky purples. Thank you so much for sending that in. And thank you for, I find it so much, well, it seems easier for people who send in their audios to write it down first. It kind of stops the, like, having to think throughout it. So if you do want to send in an audio, please do go ahead and write it down first and just read off the script. It's perfect. It works really well. So yeah, thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for that story. I just creatures on all fours, eh? Ghosts on all fours. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. Oh, right. So let me read out a story for you. So this story is called Missing from the Photo. Hello, Robert. I've been following this series since the beginning, and I always enjoy it ever since. Thank you so much. So recently I asked my friends while hanging out with them about any ghost stories or experiences that they have had before. One story got really attached to my brain. This story happened to my Japanese teacher named Naji. Naji and her friends travelled to Old City in Jakarta. It was a tourist spot famous for their old buildings since World War II. After arriving at the airport, they decided to visit this old building in the area before heading to a restaurant for their dinner. Naji's student, aka my friend, named Ojan, was known for his weird power to see things most people couldn't see. Right after arriving at the building, Ojan refused to enter any of the buildings and just stood outside, waiting for them to finish. Naji, who was responsible for the trip, talked to Ojan, asking how he was. He said he was fine but saw too many things, and it made him feel uncomfortable. So they decided to take a rest near the garden of one of the oldest buildings there. Naji asked Ojan to take a picture of her standing in front of two thin walls, with beautiful carvings all over it. He helped her take several pictures on the same spot, but when Naji checked the pictures on her phone, she didn't see herself in any of the pictures. All of them were just pictures of walls. They were panicked/excited at the same time, seeing this phenomena happen in front of their eyes. Ojan told Naji to ask for permission before taking the picture. She tried once again, then when she checked the pictures, she was in them this time. Naji was the kind of woman who didn't really believe in supernatural stuff, but after that moment, she tried to be more respectful towards it. On another note, though Naji saw Ojan talking to no one in front of the old museum, almost like arguing, she didn't want to interrupt at the time, so she just let it slide. It may not be scary when you read it, but as Naji described it, the feeling will always be indescribable unless you experience it yourself. All I want to say is thank you so much for doing this for us. You make it so interesting to watch, and ISTG, I don't know what it means, I'll Google it. I can still pay attention to your makeup, even though I also focus on your storytelling. It's always slaying. Thank you so much. That was an amazing story. It's always good to hear people's experiences, definitely when they're like more susceptible. But it just goes to show, I always think no matter what your beliefs are, you should always respect other people's beliefs, other people's religions. For example, I mean, I'm not religious in any way at all, but if we go to somewhere that's religious, for example, then I'll always remove my hat or hood or whatever I'm wearing, you know. I'll always respect the customs of that thing. So if somebody is like, listen, for example, that Robert the doll, if they were like, his haunted, ask him for permission before you take a picture. I won't be like, it's a doll. I'll be like, yeah, sure. You believe it. I believe it. Let's do it. Let's ask this doll for permission. All right. So we have Marcus reading us a story. I'm going to finish up my eyes later. You know how it is. I'm going to get on with my skin and try and find a match for me in this foundation. Okay, Marcus, go. Wait, let me turn it down. It's always really loud. Okay, go.
Hi, Robert. Sorry everyone for the sound of the cars driving by. You can hear. I'm just standing in the middle of the motorway. Can't get off. So this first story is called Why Was I Awake? When I was around 10 years old, my mum told me something really strange one evening. She asked me, "What did you do last night? Why did you act so strange?" I looked at her confused, not knowing what she was talking about. She told me that when she got up around 5 a.m. to get ready for work, she saw a light coming from my bedroom. She went inside, looking to see if everything was okay. The nightlight next to my bed was switched on, and I was sat up in my bed, bolt upright, with my eyes wide open, staring at the wall in front of me. She said I didn't even react to her entering the room, and did not blink once. She looked at me and asked me what's wrong and why am I awake. I didn't react. She took a step closer and said that everything was fine and I could go back to sleep because she thought I looked scared. I slowly turned my head towards her, looked at her and smiled, shut my eyes and lied back down. I don't remember any of this happening, and I don't know if it was me switching the nightlight on, because it was definitely turned off when I went to sleep that night. I just remember having this eerie feeling when she told me this story. This second story is called The Whole Apartment Block is Haunted. Hello Robert, I came across your channel not that long ago, and I absolutely fell in love. I thought I'd share with you my experience with ghosts and spirits. I live in one of the oldest high-rise buildings in New York City. Our building was made in 1890. It used to be a brothel, and then became a hotel. Later on in the 60s it turned into an apartment complex. Some of the apartments in the building, like my own, don't have kitchens and still have the original layout from the hotel. I've lived here for 20 years with my family. My mother was very spiritual and into the paranormal. The older I got, the more I saw interesting shadows and apparitions of people on the balcony and around the building. Even the doorman saw a little girl in the elevator going through the doors. Ever since I lived there, there's been a lot of death in the apartments, considering a good chunk of my neighbourhood is the elderly. They die, stay in the apartments until the wellness checks come in. I'm on the 18th floor, and I can tell you everyone on the floor below me has died. My mother thought the building was cursed. She then later passed away from a heart attack. Ever since, it's become worse, especially with my dreams. One day I was cleaning and fixing up the home, trying to get her stuff out to donate and give to shelters. I felt very uneasy, like someone was behind me. I slowly took my phone out and took a quick picture. This was in natural light and nobody was home. I was appalled by a face in front of the door. The eyes are blackened out and it's clearly a face structure. It doesn't help that where the face is where my mother died on the floor. And to this day I still live here. The paranormal experiences are still occurring. I'm trying to move to Sweden with my fiancé. I thought you would like this story, and many blessings to you and happiness.
What did you say about being alright with ruining my birthday?
What was that all about? About what you're saying about that? Okay, everyone, I hope you have a lovely rest of the week, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Well, Marcus just threatened me, and you all heard it, so thank you so much for both of those stories. That picture is so strange, that kind of shadowy face. Shadowy? It's not really shadow because it's light. Hovering over the doorway. Very, very weird. It's my absolute worst nightmare. Taking a picture and then seeing something in it. I'd rather like what happened in that other story where I just wasn't in it, you know? Okay, right, let's go. This is called Cheeky Smile. In brackets, in a nice way this time. Good. Hate smiling ghosts. Me and my ex in the summer were at my house, staying over, and we were talking to each other. I forgot to use the brushes Midas sent me, that's annoying. Oh, wait, is there a blush one here? Oh, there's still time. I was sitting by the sofa near the door, at the front of the house, and he was standing in the kitchen as we were talking. Oh, I don't like this. He suddenly stopped. I saw him looking over my shoulder. I knew he had seen something because he was very spiritual. I asked him, "What have you seen?" He said, "Nothing." I knew he was lying. I said, "Honestly, tell me what you see." He said, "I just saw a gold flash of light and an old man peered around the corner of the door over your shoulder." Why? I said, "What does he look like?" And he started to explain what the man looked like. Thick black glasses, grey cap, big build, and I instantly got goosebumps. I said, "Wait a minute, let me just get something." I go into my storage room and get my dad's old tatty wallet and pulled out a photo of my great-granddad. He said, "Yeah, that's exactly what he looked like." I got goosebumps, but also started smiling, as my dad and granddad were very close, and he was the one who had found him after he perished. I had to instantly ring my dad, as he was on holiday, and I asked my dad what he looked like and explained the same down to a T. My ex said, "Was he a happy man? I saw him the other night when I first came in and he was sitting on the stairs, but I didn't want to say anything." I asked my dad, did he used to sit on the stairs? And my dad said, yeah, he was always sitting on the stairs smoking a cigarette. And my ex said, did he have a cheeky smile? My dad said, yes. I said to my ex, let's Google what the gold light was. The Google search said that a gold light is a sign of a guardian angel and that he will always be around to protect us. I feel that really helped my dad to know he was still around. That's so cute. You know what, though? I'd really rather people didn't peer around corners. Like, come to me in a dream. You know what I mean? Like, don't peer around a corner, because if I catch a glimpse of your face peeking around the corner, I'm going to shit myself. So I just used the Sigma gloss, but I feel like it's more of a treatment. So I'm going to go in with Sparkle On from the Smoky Glow collection. Just because it has a bit, yeah, because there's a bit of a purple to it. Nice, nice. Okay, let me whack some lashes on and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so this is our finished look. Barbie exhausted herself to death. Too much career going on for anyone that would be. Yeah. Well, that was a great palette. I love that palette. I loved all those products actually. But yes, thank you so much for joining me. If you have any stories, paranormal experiences, just weird times, maybe you knew someone who was just extra creepy, go ahead and send it to this email address right here. Thanks again for joining me. Give this video a thumbs up if you like. Please consider subscribing. And if this is your first time joining me here on a Monday, I have a whole playlist of these. You can see we're on number 30, 40 something. I don't even know where we are. There's a whole playlist. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you very soon. Bye.